class president. With me at the podium is Alejandra Cordero, the senior class secretary.
Buenas tardes, señoras y señores, graduados, padres, familia y amigos. Bienvenido a la ceremonia de graduación de la clase 2014 del Colegio David Vasco Farragut. Es un honor para nosotros que hayáis decidido estar con nosotros esta tarde. Mi nombre es Alejandra Cordero y soy la secretaria de nuestra clase. A mi lado se encuentra la presidenta de nuestra clase, Michaela Palmer.
Please stand for the presentations of the colors by the DGF High School and JROTC color group.
Por favor, levántense para la presentación de las banderas.
like to introduce Captain Picard. Captain Greg Picard is a 1989 graduate of the United States Naval Academy with a Bachelor of Science degree in oceanography. He earned his Naval Flight Officer wings in 1991, was assigned to the S-3V Viking Squadron, VS-31, and deployed on USS George Washington's maiden voyage in 1994. Followed on tours included Mantops Evaluator and Weapons Tactics Officer with Sea Control Wing, Atlantic, and Future Operations Officer on the 2nd Fleet staff. More recently, Captain Picard deployed as a department head on board USS John Kennedy to the Arabian Gulf and as the maintenance officer on the USS Theodore Roosevelt in 2001 in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Captain Picard earned an MBA from Naval Postgraduate School, Monterey, California in 2002 and assigned to the Pentagon as the lead budget analyst for Naval Aviation Procurement and Research and Development Programs. Captain Picard transitioned to the P-3C Orion aircraft in 2005 and served as Executive Officer and Commanding Officer of Patrol Squadron 16. He then attended the Armed Forces Industrial College, earning a second master's degree, and most recently completed a highly successful 3-year tour in the J-8 Directorate of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He is married to the former Ebru Turker, and they have 2 daughters, one of which, Daria, will be graduating today. Please welcome
So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the class of 2014's graduation ceremony. It's a special honor for me to join you all today for a couple of reasons. One, it's not only an opportunity to welcome everybody here today, but as the principal said, my little girl happens to be one of the 35 talented young adults that are graduating from the David Glasgow Farragut High School. Admiral Gonzalez Ayer, our guest speaker, Dan Mangus from the Embassy, welcome. Thank you very much for coming today. I want to extend a warm welcome to the parents, families, and the friends of the graduates. I know that many of you have traveled far and wide, many people from the West Coast of the United States to be with us here today. But let me tell you, what a better place to be to celebrate your grandchildren or your nephew or niece's graduation than here in beautiful southern Spain. I also want to thank you for being the examples of love and caring, for being the role models of hard work, dedication, and principled living to our graduates, as it has paid off here today. This ceremony is a momentous occasion for us parents, and it's bittersweet as well, because our sons and daughters will be moving on. However, know that you've given them the tools needed to succeed in the next chapter of their lives. I would also like to welcome our teachers, faculty, and support staff of DGF High School. Thank you very much for unselfishly sharing your time, talents, and knowledge with our seniors, with our sons and daughters. You have allowed them to lead, succeed, and through community service, instill in them other important aspects of life, which is service to others. Thank you all very much. Finally, I want to recognize and welcome our seniors from the graduating class of 2014. To us parents, it seemed like it was just yesterday when you all started preschool. And here you are all today as young adults and high school graduates ready for that next big adventure in your lives. You completed an education that will serve as a platform to launch yourselves into whatever future endeavors you choose to undertake, whether it's the workforce, whether it's college, or a military service. And we know that you guys will be successful because this ceremony is a testament to your ability to overcome the many challenges that you have encountered these past several years. It will serve as you move forward. So we applaud your strength, dedication, and perseverance. And we all wish you, each and every one of you, the best that life has to offer. So congratulations, graduates, and we are very proud of you. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to recognize and present the medals to the salutatorian valedictorian. First, the valedictorian is Chris John Streeter. Please come up. Christian Streeter is the son of Timothy and Veronica Streeter. He will be attending Brigham Young University, where he will pursue an engineering degree and participate in the marching band. In high school, he was selected to participate in the Dodge Europe Honors Band in 2013 and is the Dodge Europe Jazz Festival in 2014. Christian was published in the Dodge Illuminations online publication in 2014 for his poem Falling Light. He was the lead character Elwood B. Dowd in the school's final theatrical production, Harvey, and was named Best Actor at the end of the year Fine Arts event. His theatrical experience included one or more production each year for the past decade. Christian was also awarded the John Philip Sousa Band Award. In addition to his artistic side, Christian has built a great academic profile. He is graduating 1 year early with an unweighted GPA of 4.0. His weighted GPA is 4.22, having taken 6 AP courses. The accomplishment that he is probably most excited about is that he earned a perfect 800 on the math portion of the SAT. Christian was commended in the National Merit Scholarship Program and was named a National Hispanic Recognition Program Scholar. Paige Neubauer, please come. Paige began her school years in Spain and returned here for her senior year. She lives here with her parents, Captain Brent Neubauer and Miss Lynn Neubauer. She attended 2 high schools in Virginia Beach. She has been a part of many drama performances, inducted into the Thespian Honor Society, a member of the youth leadership team in her previous church, a member of the National Honor Society, a senior class representative in the Student Council, and a recipient of the Presidential Award. She is graduating with a 4.08 GPA and will be attending Virginia Tech University in the fall as a double major in business and communications. The advanced band, under the direction of Mr. Jason Fox, has a special presentation for us. Please listen as they play Chanson by John Kenyon, performed by the Admiral's Own Concert Band. Following the band's performance, our salutatorian will give the salutatorian intro address.
Class of 2014, and all of the family and friends who are here to support us today. I am honored to have this opportunity to stand in front of you today and deliver the salutatorian address. Although honestly, I have no idea what that means. So I decided that I would begin my speech by defining the word salutatorian. And of course, being the good, smart scholar that I am, I made sure that I got my definition from a reputable source. Urban Dictionary defines salutatorian as the person who just missed being valedictorian by a few GPA points. A very miserable person indeed. Second place is, after all, just the first loser. I'm starting to doubt Urban Dictionary's validity. It's hard to think of myself as a first loser. Because class of 2014, after 4 years of stressing out over tests and assignments, procrastinating on those same tests and assignments, and consistently driving our teachers and parents insane, we're graduating. In just a little less than an hour, you will done what a lot of students who started high school cannot, and that is to graduate. As a matter of fact, our entire class will be graduating, and that's pretty awesome, even if our class only has 35 kids in it. Right now, every single one of us is on a path to success. On average, over our lifetime, as high school graduates, we will make $200,000 to $250,000 more than a high school dropout. And graduating wasn't exactly an easy feat for us. We aren't the average high school. I can't stand here in front of you reminiscing on happy memories and all of the fun times we experienced over our last 4 years here at DGF. Because like everyone else here, I'm a military brat. And this, sadly, is my only year here at David Glasgow Farragut. What people don't always realize is that being a member of a military family isn't an easy task. Being a military child means moving every 3 years. It means making new friends and having to say goodbye to the ones we leave behind. It's worrying and praying when our parents are deployed and understanding and accepting the fact that they might not be there when we want them to be. That they might not be there for our birthday or to send us off on our very first day of school or for some of us to see us graduate. But most importantly, being a military child means learning how to overcome all the challenges and obstacles life throws at us. Whether it's starting your first day of kindergarten in a foreign country, not speaking the same language like I did in 2001 here in Spain, or moving somewhere new to finish your final year of high school, which I also did here in Spain. We have had the opportunity to meet amazing new people and to establish lifelong friendships. Friendships like the ones I made 13 years ago in kindergarten with some of the girls sitting in the audience here today watching me graduate. So to my Spanish friends who have stuck with me for so long, I just want to thank you. So, a mis amigas españolas, gracias por nunca olvidarme. Gracias por mostrarme lo bello que es España. Y gracias por hacer de este año uno de los mejores. Os quiero. And to my parents, who have supported me and been here for me through all my failures and accomplishments, thank you. Thank you for showing me love without end and how to lead a Christ-like life. And to the class of 2014, sitting here in front of me, thank you for making my senior year a fun one, even if we started off a bit rocky. And a shout out to our teachers who helped us get here today, who helped to prepare us for our futures, whatever they might be. And lastly, thank you for the military for making all of this possible. You've taught us how to overcome any obstacles, making us more prepared for our futures and ready to take on whatever they have in store for us. From you, we've learned that we have the power to succeed in this world, even in our hard times. We've made it this far. In class of 2014, we will keep on making it. We will succeed. We've made new friends. We've learned to say goodbye to the things that are holding us back, and we made it here ready to graduate today. So just remember, even if your future doesn't always seem so bright, we will get through it, and we will succeed, because that's the only way we know how. And now, since I know that you all are excited to get this over with, so you can officially say you've graduated, I have just 2 quotes left to leave you with. So, from the late great Dr. Seuss, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the ones who will decide where to go. So, be your name Bixbaum or Bigsby or Bragg, or Mordecai Ali Von Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you. And now, Christian Streeter will come up here and deliver the valedictorian address.
Welcome, everyone. I've been given the honor of being allowed to give this speech at this graduation. Thank you, class of 2014. I have found out that these speeches are an excellent time to offer some thanks, so I'll get that done with first. I'd like to thank all of my teachers for teaching me. I've experienced with in-class teachers, distance learning, and self-led classes. And the classes where the person is standing at the front of the room are undoubtedly the best. But there are some teachers that I would like to offer additional thanks to. Mr. Caldwell, for feeding my thirst for scientific knowledge and helping me digest what I had swallowed. Mr. Birch, for a frustrating but fulfilling year of language. Mr. Fox, for always encouraging me to do something more. And Ms. Bastidas, for always encouraging me to do something different. And of course, I'll have to thank the seniors. After all, without them, there wouldn't be a class. You made this year what it was. To a few seniors, I offer special thanks. Adrian, for being the closest thing I've had to a friend in the class. Audrey, for your never-ending willingness to give hugs. Daniel, for some great writing and good thoughts. Nathaniel, for the effort you put into my page when I wouldn't. And Joy, for taking all the roles you didn't want and keeping the plays alive. I also have a few unexpected ones. I have to thank Paige for giving me a reason to keep getting good grades. Daria, sincerely, for helping me remember everything I had to do this week. Zach, for being impossible to forget. And Becca, for helping me remember that my life was my own and I didn't have to lead it in any other way. I only regret that I now can't be with us today. I must also offer sincere thanks to my parents. It is not an exaggeration to say they have been with me every step of the way. If they ever haven't, it's been my fault. Do the same for Nikolai. I feel I owe him as well. He always wants to play with me, though that's a little annoying. I've heard of siblings who aren't quite so enthusiastic. And thus begins my speech. I have been given the honor of being allowed to speak at this ceremony. As it is called the valedictorian speech, I can only assume this honor was given because I am the valedictorian. If we pull the logic further, that means I'm a nerd. That means that as a nerd, I've been given this speech, so I'll give this speech as a nerd. In calculus, we are taught to derive and to integrate. I have derived my message from several sources and integrated my thoughts into this speech. And that brings me to my message. One of my church leaders had once said 6 words that I almost made my quote: "Come what may and love it." I want to congratulate all of my classmates for surviving high school. Despite what some may say, these were not the best 4 years. But you've shown that that doesn't matter. You've made it through all the way. You've shown resilience, the ability to bounce back. You've faced tons of bad fortune, a whole bunch of frustration. And as military children, you've had your friendships torn apart quite often, like atomic bombs when halogen comes into play. And yet, I can still see you smile. And thus begins your lives. The world you are entering will be no less chaotic. Entropy is an accepted certainty in the world of physics, and so it is in life. Bad things will happen, and you need to remember to make the most of it. Better things will happen, and you need to remember to treasure it. The first way to take what life gives you and love it was iterated upon in a classmate's poem. How would you know the good without the bad? I give you this advice not to demoralize you, but to prepare you. This is a joyous ceremony. I'm going to go home tomorrow, and I'm going to sleep in, and it feels so good to be done with all of the responsibility. At least for one day. Actually, I won't. I'll be getting ready for a 3-hour church meeting. But I will at least be getting some spiritual enrichment, which I'm sure I need. As I said before, come what may, I love it. In this world of chaos, we strive to be creatures of order. Even messy rooms have a method to the madness. But math has constancy. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. It's also been touted as the most basic math problem, which brings an important point, that math must be built upon. Every lesson we learn builds upon the previous one. So it is with who you are. You have lived, on average, 18 years, and every one of those 567,648,000 seconds in those years has contributed to who you are. This is not a clean slate moment. It can't be. As one senior's quote went, always remember where you came from. I said, come what may and love it, but that doesn't mean cover up the pain and deny the sorrow. That's what makes us human. My church likes to refer to bad things in life as adversity, and it is through adversity that we grow stronger. But what gets us through adversity are the things that have made us who we are. The good memories and the bad combine to give us a foundation to make our next decision upon. The advice of parents and grandparents and other people who have helped us will come flooding back at times in our lives. I have one quote to end on. The first of my faith's Latter-day prophets once said, "Never be discouraged." If I were sunk in the lowest pits of Nova Scotia, with the Rocky Mountains piled on me, I would hang on, exercise faith, and keep up good courage, and I would come out on top. We should go into this life with confidence and never give up hope. And that's what I'm saying. Life will throw everything at you, the good and the bad. Life is an experience you can't miss, literally. So learn instead to love it. Congratulations, class of 2014. I honestly wish you the best of luck in the years to come.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aspen, and it is my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. As the son of the U.S. Air Force officer, Dr. Dan Mangus had the opportunity to be stationed in Spain during his entire high school career from 1987 to 1991. He continued his education at the University of Alabama, where he received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a Master of Arts in Communication Studies. He earned a law degree and a Doctorate of Philosophy in Communication from the University of Texas at Austin. Dr. Mangus began his career as an associate attorney as well as a university and high school speech and debate coach. He joined the U.S. Foreign Service in 2005. He has served as Vice Consul at the U.S. Consulate General in Monterrey, Mexico, and as Deputy Consul at the U.S. Embassy in Stockholm, Sweden. He later served as Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer for Regional Programming at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq, where he coordinated educational and cultural programs. He is currently the Assistant Information Officer in the Public Affairs section at the U.S. Embassy here in Madrid. This coming August, he will transfer to the United States Department Headquarters to serve as the Senior Fancy Desk Officer in the Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs. Dr. Mangus is married to Dr. Suzanne Smania, who is here today with their daughter Lucy. So please welcome Dr. Mangus.
one nerd on stage. I gotta be honest, all of you are kind of nerds in your own way. Because you're about to be high school graduates, and you should embrace that. It's wonderful news. I can't tell you how delighted I am to be here today. I had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with this class earlier, a few months ago, earlier in the academic year. And it brought back such powerful feelings for me, a sentimentality about my time as a Dodds kid. Many wonderful things about that is, one, I don't have to explain what Dodds means. You all know. The rest of the population of this world, you have to slow it down and explain. I didn't go to a military reform school. I wasn't that bad. Maybe I should have gone, but it's a special universe that you all are living in right now. And that universe is about to close, in a way. So I don't want to be sad about it. But I do want to look forward to your futures, because they're amazing futures. The last time I was here at Rota was to represent with the embassy the arrival of the USS Donald Cook. That was fun. It's a big boat with a lot of flags and bands. But today, we're not waiting for a ship to come in. Today, we see 35 ships that are about to take off onto their own voyages, onto their own seas, into their own futures. And that is a reason to celebrate. I spent a lot of time at the embassy helping prepare messages. I have been known to help senior officials like an ambassador write a speech here and there, although it's always their own ideas. But I'll be honest, you've heard the introduction. I know my way around a speech, but I'm terrified about actually trying to put together a commencement address that can actually meet the expectations and the standards that were already set today. So I completely chickened out. Instead, I did something very modern. I crowdsourced my solution. Because as it turns out, the 18 members of my humongous high school class still exist in a magical place called Facebook. And so, rather than try to come up with advice for you that just comes from my own experience, I tried to ask them for some help. I'll be honest, I can't offer everything that they suggested. There are both children and grown-ups in this room. But there was some solid advice. So if you don't mind, I'd like to speak on behalf of the entire 1991-93 class. There was a high school in Spain which no longer exists, but in spirit and on Facebook. And I'd like to offer 5 pieces of advice for you today. You don't have to take notes. The first thing that I noticed from all of the emails that I got back that were just full of comments from friends, and some of whom I haven't really talked to as much over the years, the most sincere thing that came across was every one of them, and they don't know you, every one of them wanted you to feel confident in yourself. And I think that's because going through high school, an American high school experience on a base overseas, far away, it sometimes breeds this idea that maybe you aren't having the same experience that your peers are in the United States. That somehow this is a simulation of high school, but it's not the real thing. But the truth is that high school, no matter where it is really, really tough. And it's tougher than ever. Because you've got to do all these incredibly difficult things in order to succeed out there in the working world. So thank you to the teachers for breaking your backs. They're getting you ready. And I'm not just being nice about saying, oh, you guys have had a harder high school experience than I did. It's true. Statistically, you guys, as an average, are taking 15 more credit hours, 50% more credit hours than I did. And that wasn't that long ago, 20 years, something like that. Which means you're doing more work in the same amount of time. And some of you are off taking college classes at the same time that you're taking the normal high school load. And having noticed the kind of classes that you're taking, even at the basic levels, your expectations for your performance are frankly higher than what I had to go through. You all are much, much better prepared. You're the best prepared generation of high school students in America. And you should be proud of that. And you are the equal of any college, high school class in the United States. In fact, because 35 of you are graduating, I can tell you, Paige, you got it right. This is not a gimme. This is not a guarantee that you finish high school. In fact, 20% of the high school students who start high school in the United States don't finish. You did finish. So you should feel extremely confident in yourself. We're going to talk about why some of those kids didn't make it and why you did in a second. That's important to think about too, but you should feel good about where you are and what you've done. And part of this is maintaining that confidence when you go off to your next adventures, whether it's university, whether it's the military, other employment. I'm going to throw out something, stay with me on this. There's this phenomenon called the Hunger Games. Apparently, it's a book that somebody made into a movie. There's a line in the second book in the trilogy, because one book's not enough, where the heroine is basically repeating some advice, and she says, you know, it's a lot easier to be strong because it takes 10 times longer to pick yourself up than it does to get right in the first. Well, that's true here. The strength that you showed to finish your high school experience, and it sounds like it was pretty brutal from what I'm hearing, you guys need to keep applying it because you set a standard for yourself, and you should have the confidence that you can meet whatever standard and whatever you want to accomplish. The second piece of advice that I got from some of my classmates was really interesting, and I think it's because a lot of them, they're in the working world, and so they're thinking about job-related things. But they all said, you know, this Dodds network is really the best jobs network in the world. You have so many people out there that have come from the military experience that you have an automatic connection with millions of people. But the most important people for you should be your own class, the 35 of you together today. And I think what's really interesting about that is because, you know, maybe it's because we have Facebook. It came around 2005, and it kind of relit a lot of the connections that we've had in our generation. But for your generation, you have the ability, no matter how far apart you are from each other, to continue to engage and to continue to be friends. In fact, to even deepen your friendship, because it's possible. You can even be better friends than you are now. And in doing that, you create for yourself a mighty band of 35 people who can support each other in ways that you can't even expect, but mostly be there to witness your lives together. I say that because it's important. Like you, I think I lived in 11 places by the time I was 18 years old, and sometimes I felt like the only people who could really know anything about my life were my sisters, and it's true. But then, as I got older, as I reconnected with a lot of my classmates from Zaragoza, from Spain, I realized that in fact that there were connections that they did understand, and that was such a precious gift to get later in life. And so I encourage all of you, maybe right now you're not feeling like you're the tightest ever, but hey, you have each other, and it's 35 souls who get it. Even if you spent 1 year together in this school, that was one darn good year, right? So maintain that connection and maintain that network. And who knows where that's going to grow out. There are some pretty famous graduates of this military grad experience. If you're ever hanging around Los Angeles and you're thinking, man, I wish I could have somebody show me the town. I mean, you could always give like Bruce Willis a phone call, He's a military grad. There's a connection there. You could call his assistant, maybe. Or maybe the assistant's assistant. I don't know. If you're in Miami, you're feeling like, I want to shoot some basketball. I want to do some hoops. I'm Ray Allen. He's a Navy kid. That's not bad. And Shaquille O'Neal, I suppose. I don't know if he still plays basketball. Okay, so maybe not every famous military grad is going to be your best friend, but there are a lot out there. And I can tell you, one of the first jobs that I got, the interview was basically like, you have a weird background. That's right, sir, I do. Are you a military kid by chance? Yes, I am. And about 30 minutes later, I had a job offer. So think about this as an advantage and not something to hold you back. The third tip that I got a lot from my classmates, and many of them whom had gone right on to serve in the military, was a feeling that because fewer and fewer Americans are actually serving in the military these days, so few of us actually appreciate what it's like to actively be in this experience and in this culture. And so their advice was being very proud of your military heritage and be vocal about that. Yesterday they were noting the 70th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. And I think think statistically true still today that you are more likely to know, an American is more likely to know somebody who participated in that invasion than they are to know an active duty person serving now, which is pretty crazy. This has been your entire life. You've been surrounded by badges and ranks and things like that. But that's unusual for America. And so when you go back to the U.S., you have an opportunity to explain that to people who really only know about the military through TV and through movies, which are very horrible teachers, right? There's so much more to explain. And more to the point, because you have an opportunity also to explain the values that are part of this military environment. People often think about, guys with guns as being basically what the military is about. But from my experience, I can't think of better role models of citizenship, of discipline, of rewarding leadership, and respecting people, and of tolerance. I mean, it is our military that led the integration of the fight against segregation and against violence and gender, against homophobia, and so many other social issues. It's our leadership that's shown by the military, often that exceeds the leadership that we've seen from our civilian leaders as well. So I throw that out there to say you really come from a special place, and you can be very proud of that. The fourth piece of advice that I got that came through loud and clear was started off by my daughter, Lucia, who I think you've all heard at least once or twice, wailing in the back there. It's almost done. I have classmates that emailed me and said, actually, this May my daughter is graduating from high school, which is sort of kind of, it's a bit of a mind shock for me to think I have a 10-month-old daughter and they have an 18-year-old kid. But it does remind you that your parents have been here for you and your family has been here for you for a long time. They've done everything from changing your diapers in the beginning to watching you fail and holding back to let you learn your own lessons. I mean, you've already heard this 1,000 times over. What I wanted to throw out is that your parents are people too. And just as you are launching off into your own voyage, I would also just kind of give you a moment to think about how you might be able to support your parents. Because most of them, if I'm calculating correctly, are not about to wheel into the old folks' home. They may be coming to near the end of their military careers, but they've got a lot of life left to lead. And you are going to play a very key role in supporting them down the road. I lived with my father. My father, was an officer. He was the light of my life. But I didn't really understand him as a friend until I was a young adult. And I watched him build a business slowly and carefully, and watch it kind of fall back a little bit, and see him struggle. And that's important because when I recognized my father was having some of the same struggles as a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old, as I was having in my 20s and 30s, it brought us a lot closer together, and it made me appreciate so much more the sacrifices he gave me. And I'd like to think that we're better friends than ever in our lives, even though that we are often not living very close to each other. So I hope you don't just appreciate your parents today, but you work very hard to support them going onward in the future. And then the final message that kind of came through that I thought was really interesting to me was that, and this actually one person in particular articulated it, and she actually happens to be a graduate, a 1993 graduate of DGF High School. Emily Kuklias, who was a Navy brat all the way through her life, all over the world. Can't even imagine the number of places that she went to. And she ended up in Hawaii as a professor at a college. And there's many amazing things about her that I found really impressive. But the part that I thought was really great, of all the advice or all the things that she was offering, the part that was really the most interesting was that she said she was describing her family. She was describing her life and the things that she likes to do. And she said, and for my hobby, I like to do disaster relief. And I thought only a graduate of a DOD school would list as a hobby disaster relief. And literally, if there's an earthquake in Haiti, she's one of those fast teams that goes and flies out and starts directing relief efforts, getting food and shelter and medical attention to people who need it. And this is her side job. The truth is, this example kind of codifies two parts that's really important for you. One is that you guys have an amazing adaptability, and if you choose to use it, like Emily, you can go out and truly make an impact on people's lives on your weekends as a hobby. You're that powerful. You're that capable. And the other thing is that there's an entire world out there that needs help. They need people just like you, that have lived overseas, that understand what it means to struggle in a foreign language, that understands the impact of what happens when you use military force. They need people like you to be the kind of global citizens in order for us to move forward as a community on a global level. And I say this as a diplomat, as somebody who works with people who come from amazing backgrounds. The truth at the end of the day is that if I needed an embassy staff full of excellent people, I would be looking for people like you. And so when people say to you things like, go off and be an ambassador, well, I hope you will. I hope you will. And I have great confidence that each and every one of you can go be an ambassador. So congratulations. I hope that some of this advice was useful to you. And on behalf of my generation, I can only wish you the very best of luck and the voyages that you are about to all take off.
Treasurer for the senior class, 2014. The song that we picked out was My Wish by Basketball Flats.
Thank you very much. You're such a gracious host, and I think I can speak for everybody. We love your country very much. Commander Picari, Captain Picari, thank you very much for being such an inspirational leader and a kind-hearted man on base. As a school, we feel very supported, so thank you. Mr. Vaswani, would like to thank you for all the support that you show our students and staff as well. It's the little things that you do that make a big difference for our school, so thank you very much. To our senior class sponsor, Mr. Jacobs, I realize all the hard work that it takes to put something like this on and all the other things that you do during the year. You are a professional educator, and on a more personal level, you've been a mentor to me for the past 15 years, so thank you very much. Dr. Bond, I know how hard you work with all of our seniors in getting everything ready. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in place. Thank you very much. I want to thank the senior class for the opportunity to speak today. I am humbled and honored, but I am very nervous. And that leads me to the last thing. I would like to thank my wife for getting me prepared today, for listening to my speech, for getting me organized. Thank you very much, Lily. You are truly my grace. I want to start today by telling you a story about a friend of mine that I grew up with in Pensacola, Florida, named Pete. And when Pete entered into the 9th grade, I can remember meeting him for the first time. He was tall, energetic, athletic, very talkative, nice to everybody. He was a bit of a class clown, but not to the point where teachers disliked him. He was also very smart and a good student. But Pete would also be considered at risk. And the reason he was at risk because he grew up in the toughest neighborhood in Pensacola, Florida, and grew up without his mother or his father. His grandmother raised him from birth. And during his high school years, Pete started making some bad choices. He started hanging out with the wrong crowd, disrespecting people, treating people unlike he had before in his earlier years, and basically making bad decisions that were going to lead to hindering him in his future. But 22 years ago, almost to the day, Pete also graduated, sitting right where you're sitting. He graduated with honors. And there's a reason Pete graduated with honors. It's because he had a grandmother that sacrificed for him, and every day of his life got up and prayed for him. So my question to you is, why are you here? I would like you to make eye contact, if you would, as I go through this, with the people that have been very special to you, probably the folks that you gave those flowers to, and see if we can decide why you are here today. When you were a baby and crying at night, hour after hour, because you didn't feel good, who was there to hold you and to make you feel secure? When you were 4 or 5 years old and just learning to ride a bicycle, and you probably took off faster than you should have, and rounded that curve and fell and skinned your knee and your elbow, who was there to pick you up and stop the bleeding? When you were in middle school, and a lot of your friends turned their back on you, you didn't get invited to that all-important party, and you stayed home and cried, who was there to wipe those tears away and to let you know that everything was going to be okay? Who was there during your high school years when you were participating in sports, taking you to practice after practice after practice, giving you money every weekend to go on trips, sacrificing so you could have a better life? We all know the answer to that question, and they're sitting in this room today. But probably more importantly, who was there when you did make bad decisions? When you stayed out late at night? When you were irresponsible? Who stayed up waiting on you? Who was up early in the morning, praying, meditating, sending positive thoughts your way? We all know that was your parents. Please understand, recognize, and thank these people that have sacrificed and guided you to get to where you are today. I have 2 key points that I'd like to share with you today that I think will help you in your future. First, I would like for you to have resiliency through life's storms. I can guarantee you in the next 4 years, you're going to run into some roadblocks. You're going to run into some difficult times. You're going to be lonely. You may see a grade that you get back in college that's lower than anything you've ever seen. You may be on a job that you're stuck in and you say, I'm going absolutely nowhere. The point is, you're going to get knocked down. And what I want to share with you today, when you get knocked down, you need to get back up. You have a choice. You can be like that egg that is, when dropped, that breaks. Or you can be like that tennis ball that when it's dropped, it bounces right back up. Another storm at some point in your life that you're going to face, and we know it all too well at our school this year, is you're going to lose somebody in your life that's very close to you. And when that event happens, everything that you've ever known, everything around you feels like it's going to be falling apart. And I have no special strategy for you. All I can tell you is just stand. And when you feel like you can't stand anymore, continue to stand. And it's going to feel like a heavyweight boxing match. It's going to feel like you're getting knocked, hit, and about to be knocked down. But this isn't boxing, this is life. And when you're just about to fall, there's going to be probably somebody in this room or some friend that's going to come and stand for you. And they're going to stand for you a day, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months, maybe even a year, until you're able to stand on your own. There's going to be many more storms coming your way, but there's also good news. You're going to get through all those storms. Some of you may run through the storms, some of you may walk, some may even crawl. But remember this, when you get to the other side, there's a ray of sunshine and hope that is waiting on you that will create a more resilient, wiser, and overall better you. My second point is to use your life to change the life of someone else. I want to start by sharing a dream that somebody had that they shared with me. And they were going into this biggest church building that you've ever seen. Inside was the nicest facilities, carpets, it was gold in there, and it was jammed full of people, just like today. There was standing room only. All the who's who's, all the people with money in the town were all there in the fanciest suits, and man, they were excited. They were chanting the speaker's name. I mean, there was this excitement in the air. And this guy was a bit tired and said, man, I got to go out. I need to get some water. Because, you know, it was just wild in there. So he goes out to get some water, and he sees someone leaving the building. And he looks again. He said, that looks like God leaving. He said, God, come here. What are you doing? He said, get in there. Don't you see what's going on? Everybody's going crazy in there for you. It's exciting. Come on, get back in there. And God looked at him and said, I'm not in there. He walked him outside and he pointed across the street to the poorest neighborhood in the city. And there was a young group of people that were performing community service. They were feeding, clothing, helping with sports, arts and craft, tutoring. They were doing whatever public servants do. And God looked at them and said, that's what I am. So my message to you today is all of you have been given special talents and gifts. Use those gifts to change the life of somebody. Whether it's art, whether it's dance, whether it's sports, whether you're just a kind-hearted person, take that and change the life of another person. I'd like to finish Pete's story now. Pete continued to make some poor choices after high school. After a year at college, he ended up dropping out, but fortunately, he found the United States Navy. And he served for 3 years, and through that got the discipline and the leadership, and went back to school. And when he was 26 years old, he became the youngest African-American principal ever in the state of Florida. He now has his doctorate degree, and he's a superintendent of one of the largest school districts in the United States in Chicago, Illinois. So now my last question to you is, how is your story going to end? If you could please, again, look out into the crowd at that special someone. I would like you to visualize 25 years from now. And now it's you sitting out in the audience. And you are there because you've been resilient through life's many storms. And you look up on stage. And the most precious gift that's ever been given to you, your son or your daughter, is now on stage graduating. And why are they there? Because you sacrifice and use your life as an example to get them to the point where they need to be. Thank you very much, and good luck ahead.
I'm getting excited because I know when I'm up here talking, it's just about over. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Jacobs. It's been my pleasure to serve as senior class sponsor this year. At this time, I request Mr. Maswani, Mr. Wilhoy, and Dr. Bond to the diploma table.
On behalf of the faculty and staff of David Glasgow Farragut High School, I present you the class of 2014. Nathaniel Trumper. Rosa Batista Dominguez. DGF who helped during these 3 years.
Bryant Arnell Dupree, staff.
Bryant will be attending UMUC in Rota, Spain.
Maya Denise Stevens.
Maya will be attending UMUC in Rota, Spain.
Zachary James Rayfield.
I want to thank my awesome parents for putting up with me, and a shout out to Ski for being the best role model at the firehouse.
Sabrina Charlotte Ellen Irely.
Sabrina will be attending Nova Southeastern in the fall.
Zachary M. Jensen.
I'm a lifeguard. Come visit me.
Joy Michelle Hutchison Tipton.
Joy will be attending the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs.
Gerardo Alexander Castillo.
I want to thank my family, friends, and teachers for always being there for me.
Catherine Giselle de Guzman.
I want to thank my family for never leaving my side.
Ben Cardenas.
I want to thank my parents for making my bed, as well as lunch for me every day, even though I never said thanks for doing so.
Daniel Jean Josiah Blankenship.
Danny.
I'm glad to be moving on, but I will miss all the people and all the things I've done.
Kristen Lee Banks.
Hey, right here. Right here.
Kristen will be attending Kent State University in Kent, Ohio.
Angelina Picari.
Daria will be attending North Carolina State University. She would like to thank her family for all of their support.
Cassandra Velasco. Christina Bayer Lucena.
Christina will be attending UMUC at the Rota campus.
Justin Workman.
All right, Mr. Beatbox. Fantastic.
Rebecca Jane Simon.
Mom, thanks for being my support, guide, and best friend for the past forever.
Sean Herrera.
Hey, Sean. Awesome.
I want to thank my dad for his support, and a shout out to Ski and Rivera for being a great role model.
Brittany N. Schenkel.
Beautiful.
Never say goodbye, because saying goodbye means going away, and going away means forgetting. Peter Pan.
Grant Joseph Wilhoy. Audrey Lorraine Bowens. Logan Darren Wells.
I want to thank my parents for supporting me for the past few years and providing me with amazing opportunities.
Sophia Ana Ortiz.
To my family, my friends, and everyone who has loved me through this little thing called life, thanks.
To all family, friends, and teachers who gave me confidence to reach my goals, thank you.
My family, friends, and mentors who have supported me throughout my high school career.
Quentin Allen Fisher. Michaela Eleanor Palmer.
I am blessed and thankful for all the support I have received throughout the year, especially from my wonderful families.
Cordero.
I want to thank my teachers and friends for all the support and my family for extending another 2 years.
Alexis Rosemary Quinones.
I want to thank my family for all of their love and support, especially my grandma for always believing in me. I will be attending Flagler College in the fall.
Neubauer.
Paige will be attending Virginia Tech this fall.
Please be seated. This is my favorite part of the entire year. I reviewed the transcripts of the students of the class of 2014, and with the power vested in me by the Department of Defense Education Activity as the principal of DGF High School, I now declare you the graduates of the class of 2014. You may now turn your tassels.